Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Wednesday morning. Welcome to it is a hot edition of Hot Mic on WDAY Extra. KSFL TV, good morning everybody in Sioux Falls, KNBN in Western South Dakota, and Inforum.com. Happy October. The best month on the calendar is here because everything happens this month, including 90 degrees, evidently, because we're heading for it by the time the week wraps up. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the show. I am Dom Izzo, host of said program. Welcome to Hot Mic on a beautiful Wednesday, a warm one and a packed one. We are your West Fargo Sheyenne leader today. We are all about the Mustangs with a couple of our guests that we previewed off the top of the show. We'll recap a thrilling end of the Class A Girls State Golf Championship that took place down the road at Fargo Country Club, which for the first time, an individual from West Fargo Sheyenne won that. And later in the show, we featured it in our Best of the Weekend on Monday. Karter Menz from West Fargo Sheyenne. You may remember him from such plays as sacking Shanley about 18 times. Will join us after he had a big weekend in the Gopher win over Rutgers. That's coming up later on in the program. The WNBA Finals are set. We'll get to that in a minute. Thriller last night. I hope you stayed up for it. It was more exciting than the baseball game last night between Las Vegas and Indiana, though the championship round is set there. As for the baseball postseason, the first games are in the book. So tonight, it's elimination games all over the place. That's what happens when it's best of three. I will say, for this round, the added excitement of it, and just think about it, folks. 2 years ago, the Minnesota Twins won a series. Why does that seem like it was 18 years ago? Because that's how far away it feels from where the Twins are now to 2 years ago at this very moment. We were recapping a Twins victory over the Toronto Blue Jays. In fact, in front of a packed Target Field. It feels like it was a million miles away right now. Just seeing those environments yesterday, whether it was in Cleveland, L.A., Chicago, even Yankee Stadium last night, just it is not anywhere close for the Minnesota Twins. Let's start with the American League. Yesterday, Guardians and Tigers led it off with, again, these two teams just played each of the last handful of weeks, and the Guardians have hammered Detroit. The Tigers, though, were throwing Tarek Skubal yesterday, their ace, Cy Young winner, and holy cow, he was dominant. To the highlights from Progressive Field, and it was a fabulous game. Pitchers duel. Actually, 3 of the 4 games yesterday were tight, contested games. It's a 1-0 Tiger lead. When chaos happens here on the base paths, throw at the plate. They're going to say the runner is out. We're going to go to review here. I like the fact that you could see what everybody in Secaucus, New Jersey was looking at. Zoom that in. Hand is in there. That run is safe. Guardians are on the board. It's 1-1. Top of the 7th inning. Zach McKinstry up. How about a little safety squeeze from the Tigers? That's going to allow Riley Green to score and give Detroit a 2-1 lead. That's how you win in the postseason, folks. That's old school baseball. Then they turn it over to Skubal. Sensational. 100 miles an hour in the 7th inning. There's another one. Strikes out the side in the 7th. He walked 3. He allowed 3 hits. He struck out 14 Guardians yesterday. That's why you throw your ace in game 1. Bottom of the 9th, though, the Guardians have the tying run on base. But this fly out to shallow left would end it. And Detroit, remember, the Tigers blew a 15-game lead. They take game one in Cleveland, 2-1, and lead that series 1-0. Meanwhile, Yankees and Red Sox playing last night. Boston trailed 1-0 to that hit from Yoshida to give the Red Sox a 2-1 lead. Big-time strikeout here to get out of a jam. Sends this game here to the bottom of the 8th inning. Again, the Yankees threatening. Aroldis Chapman comes in, former Yankee great, gets a line out to center. Dangerous play there. Could have played it a couple runs. Gets out of a jam and keeps it at 2-1. Top of the 9th. Alex Bregman up. Yankee killer with the Astros. Does it again with Boston with an RBI double into the corner. Trevor Story. Remember the Twins were going to sign Trevor Story and they signed Correa? How'd that work out? It's a 3-1 lead for the Red Sox. Bottom of the 9th. Aaron Judge up. Delivers. Already with a man on. Here come the Yanks. Runners at first. There's nobody out. Cody Bellinger bloops one in here. The bases are loaded, and there's nobody out in the bottom of the 9th inning. The ghosts of the old Yankee Stadium are set to resurface. Giancarlo Stanton strikes out. So there's one out. Next hitter, Jazz Chisholm. That's not going to be deep enough. I don't know. I think I would have tried it. Although you can't make the last out at home. So there's 2 outs now in the bottom of the 9th. Last hitter up. It's a strikeout from Trent Grisham. And the Red Sox go on and beat the Yankees. 3-1 is the final score. So Boston takes game 1 of that series, 1-0. Thrillers last night in the American League. 2 dynamite. Great pitching will do that. And the Red Sox got it and able for them to win. Garrett Crochet, 11 strikeouts. You mentioned Skubal, what he did in striking out 14. We just set and refresh on this. Dominant pitching always wins in the postseason. Meanwhile, in the National League, we got to see some big-time bats yesterday. Padres and Cubs, a game you saw on WDAY. Seiya Suzuki batting for Chicago. The Padres lead this game 1-0 as we play in the bottom of the 5th at Wrigley Field. And finally, the Cubs hadn't gotten a big hit yet in the game. That changes with a blast to left center. Gets the Cubs on the scoreboard. Ties the game up at 1. Place going crazy. You ever sat out there in the bleachers in Wrigley? It's an experience. Next hitter up is Carson Kelly. He gets into one. Back-to-back home runs. It's a 2-1 Cubs lead in the bottom of the 5th. San Diego's pitching, again, been outstanding. That was their top guy they threw yesterday, and Nick Pivetta gives up home runs here. It's a 2-1 Cubs lead through 5. Chicago's bullpen was electric yesterday. Nico Horner batting in the bottom of the 8th. Laces one to center. That's going to be deep enough for Dansby Swanson to come in. It's a 3-1 Cubs lead through 8 innings. Their bullpen was electric yesterday. They worked 5 2/3 innings of relief. They allowed no hits. This the final out. Cubs go on and beat the Padres 3-1. They take the opening game of the series 1-0 as they fly the W flag at Wrigley. Meanwhile, late last night, this guy played. It's just going to be fascinating to watch in the postseason. Ohtani destroys that one off Hunter Green, who was really good for Cincinnati all year long. It's 1-0. Teoscar Hernandez, a laser beam to left, a 3-run home run. Dodgers are up 4-0. This is what this lineup can do. When they're healthy, they're unstoppable. Tommy Edman did this in the National League Championship Series en route to them winning the World Series last year. 5-0 L.A. Even Rob Lowe loving it. Mary Hart's back. She's sitting behind home plate. You know it's postseason time. Hernandez hits another one. It's a 6-0 game. The best of the best is still to come, though, because Ohtani was up again. Watch where this one goes, folks. From you on the podcast, it's almost out of Dodger Stadium. 454 feet. It's nearly cleared the right field bleachers. 8-0 L.A. at that point. The Dodgers actually let the Reds crawl back into this game. They got a couple of big outs late, and they win it 10-5 to take game one and lead it 1-0. So, here's where we're at after yesterday's games. Chicago leading, and the Dodgers, they can each eliminate their teams and advance on to today, or to the division series over the weekend. Same with Boston and Detroit. The two road teams win in the American League. The two home teams win in the National League, with the Mariners, Blue Jays, Brewers, and Phillies awaiting the winners. Fun opening day of the baseball postseason. I'm just telling you, when you have live sports on a Tuesday at noon, tell me anything better than that. And we get to do it all over again coming up this afternoon. Same game times you'll see on our ticker for everything. Noon, 2, 5, and 8, as we'll do it all over again. Also, we mentioned it off the top. Thriller last night in the WNBA. And it was not what Nafisa Collier said, because what she said was lightning material, ripping Kathy Engelbert, the commissioner of the WNBA. It was juicy, and that story ain't going anywhere. Overshadowed the fact there was a basketball game last night. Game 5 between Vegas and Indiana. Series tied at 2 games apiece, and it was a fabulous finish in this one. We'll go late in the third quarter. We'll pick this up. It's a 6-point game. This is after Kelsey Mitchell had to leave the game because of an injury, in a scary spot there because she had played dynamite. So we go to the fourth, and Indiana would not go away. Aaliyah Boston hits back-to-back shots, puts Indiana down 2. Now we're tied late in the fourth quarter. Chance down low. Boston, though, is called for a foul. That was her 6th, and she's out of the game. So, again, we've talked plenty about officiating here. So Vegas leads 86-84 after they make the foul shots. 30 seconds to go. Odyssey Sims ties it for Indiana at 86. 22 seconds to go. Jewel Lloyd has a chance at a putback at the horn, but can't get it. Jackie Young had a chance as well. We go to overtime. 2.5 minutes to go in OT. Vegas up 92-90. Chelsea Gray hits the 3. Vegas now leads at 95-90. It's a 4-point Vegas lead. Off the inbound, Asia Wilson feeds Gray for the layup. Vegas goes on and pulls away to win it 107-98. They're moving on to the WNBA Finals. So it's an all-West final. Second-seeded Vegas. Remember, they had that win streak to end the season where they won 16 in a row. They had to go the distance to knock out the Liberty, or the Phoenix did in the first round. Vegas had to go the distance to knock out Seattle. They had to go the distance to knock out Indiana. So it'll be Phoenix and Vegas, best of 7, and that'll start on Friday night in Las Vegas. They won the title in 22, they won the title in 23, and they are poised to do it again in 2025. Remember, it's a Bison Media Zone Wednesday. We got a packed show coming up for you. Our guy Drew Trafton here to celebrate his Mariners winning the American League West. We'll also chat about the big Grizz win over the weekend. And ready for a big one is Montana with Northern Arizona. We'll preview that coming up in just a few minutes. At 9:35, you'll meet Cheyenne senior golfer Zoe Keene. We can now say state champion golfer for the first time. Cheyenne has an individual state medalist. That was drama. No drama in the fact that Cheyenne won the state championship by 45 shots. That's coming up at 9:35. And at 10 o'clock, Minnesota sophomore defensive lineman, former West Fargo Cheyenne Mustang, Karter Menz will join the show to chat about his big weekend and helping the Gophers secure a win over Rutgers. And looking ahead, Minnesota has a team you may know in Ohio State playing this weekend in prime time Saturday night in Columbus. We'll chat about that coming up at 10 o'clock. That and a heck of a lot more here on a busy Wednesday morning. We're just getting started. Hot Mike back after this on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KNBN, and Inforum.com.
The biggest Seahawks, Sounders, and Mariners fan in the FM area. It's time for Views with Drew.
Email comes into the show. As a fan whose favorite team has terrible ownership, a contracted front office, no manager, and a completely depleted roster, I hereby officially throw my support to Drew's Seattle Mariners for the 2025 playoffs. The bandwagon is growing by the minute.
We take all comers, and we're glad to have you aboard. It's going to be hopefully it's going to be a fun ride.
Well, you had the trifecta last week, right?
Yeah.
So the Seahawks won Thursday night. Mariners had already clinched the division.
Yeah.
And then the Grizz dominated their game on Saturday.
They sure did. I don't even know where do we start. Where do we start
tell me.
unpacking? I want to start with the Mariners because
I would. First division title in 24 years, absolutely.
Still feels surreal.
Despite the football on that one.
Yeah. And I know that this team has higher ambitions than that, which is great. But it was so cathartic. You know, like it's like the joy of the moment really hasn't even set in yet. It's just so it felt like they were exercising demons as they were playing that game because they got off to a really hot start. You know, Cal hit his 59th home run and then, you know, later his 60th, but that 59th home run went into the third deck.
Yeah.
You know, and then
that was not a wall scraper.
Julio hits one back to back right after him. And it's just like at that point, it was like the party's on, you know, and it was so cool. My dad was in the stands.
Is that right?
Game
That's awesome.
With my aunt. They're both OG Mariners fans. And
that's really cool.
My cousin was there, and it was just, you know, it was just really cool to be able to like hear what it was like in the stadium. And my dad was texting my brothers and I just about like, you know, it's so neat in here. And, you know, it's just people like kind of just let it go. And it was really cool. It was a really cool moment to have that. And I know like Timberwolves fans definitely get it. You know, I mean, you know, Vikings fans understand the never have, you know, won it before anxiety that we're feeling now as a fan base. But that 24 years is such a long time.
A long time. That's a generation,
you know,
man.
I was in middle school the last time that they won the division, and I have a daughter who's in middle school now. Like I went through high school, college, you know, just like all the major life things. Got married, had, you know, children, you know, had a 15-year career. You know, it's like to you know, then to go, you know, 24 years is just, it's a long time.
So we do not know times yet. I imagine that may come out today or tomorrow of when everything plays, because either you're playing Detroit or Cleveland.
Yeah.
On Saturday,
there's
Seattle.
There's a big storyline there because so on Saturday they have the Sounders playing at Lumen Field, which if you're not familiar with, you know, how the stadiums are set up in Seattle, they're less than a tenth of a mile apart
next to
from
one
each
another.
other. Like they are right on top of each other, and they're going to have, you know, they're expecting a large crowd for both of those games, and then
Seahawks play.
The Seahawks play Sunday against Tampa Bay, and
which is a good game,
great game, and they're both going to be wearing their throwbacks by the way, which will be really cool.
Oh, I didn't know that the Seahawks were. I knew the Bucks were.
Both of them are going to be wearing their throwbacks.
Go.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. And so that area,
that might be a bit busy.
Yeah, they're really worried about congestion down there because it's a nightmare when it's just one of those teams playing. And so it's
a 3:00 game for the Seahawks, right? Well, I mean, then it's got to be a 7 o'clock Central Time.
Right.
It have to be, or later for the Mariners.
And so the Mariners, from what I understand, the Mariners kind of get to set because of the MLB playoffs, and Fox is the carrier of that game, I believe. So they get to set the schedule.
Yeah, I bet you
the Seahawks react to it.
I bet you that's a 9 o'clock Central Time start. 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific.
Yeah.
Because the football game will be done by 4 o'clock Pacific. Mm-hmm. You got to give people time to get out of there. You'd think, right?
And I think there's going to be a very large contingency of people going from one game
to
the other.
Yeah.
We tried to do that. Like I've
that's awesome.
We tried to get tickets for the playoff games, and they sold out within minutes. And we were sitting there, and none of us got tickets.
Oh.
And which is fine. You know, like it's great that my dad got to go to the game where they clinched the division, and we'll keep trying, later on. But it seems like those things they sold out so quickly.
Go to Detroit or Cleveland. That might be easier.
Yeah,
it's closer. Right.
Yeah, like that. For me, that might be the answer there.
You could see them clinch on the road.
Hey,
the amount of people I knew
that.
in 2016 of Cubs fans that went to Cleveland because they could not get tickets to any of the World Series games in Chicago. They went and saw Game 6 or saw Game 7.
Yeah, and it's like
if you go back and watch, like Chicago fans are louder than the Guardians fans or than the Indians fans for Game 7 of the World Series that year.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I haven't even really thought about that.
Because I was this close, honestly, in 15. The Mets were in Kansas City.
Yeah,
I was going to do that because I knew there was no way, and I could get to New York City, but I could get to Kansas City.
Yeah, real easy.
And I totally regret it now because the Mets are never going to make it again after what happened this year. So congratulations to them. Yeah, I said that for 46 years. And then with the last part, I did not make the end of the game. Did you?
Yeah, I did.
All right, there you go.
I was fighting it, though, real hard.
I made it to halftime, and Montana was rolling when I lost consciousness on Saturday night.
That game really was what I was looking for as a Grizzlies fan.
And I don't think the score was close as it was. Montana dominated that that game.
Yes,
Idaho got a couple of late scores.
They did. They got some garbage time touchdowns. And that's it was really nice to see. And that's kind of reshuffled in my brain at least a little bit what my expectations are for the Grizzlies this year. I think the offense is really clicking. And that the defense, I still have a lot of questions about, especially when we get to if you get into the playoffs, what does that look like? But the offense, man, I think they've got something there now, and I think that we didn't know who the pass catchers were going to be, and then Wortham steps up, and this freshman Brooks Davis, he is
won the game against UND.
He's going to be something. I think, he's got some juice with him, and Eli Gilman's just, making a Walter Payton case, pretty early.
Looked pretty good.
142 yards on the ground. And then, he punched in a couple touchdowns. He's really making it work. And Khalid Yayat's starting to play pretty well too, and consistently, which is good. And this Idaho team wasn't bad. They're not a bad team. I don't know what they actually are.
They're probably a second-round team. I think they're going to play on Thanksgiving weekend, maybe win a game, and then run into a top 8 seed and probably get beat.
And back to what I was thinking about Montana, that's kind of what I thought the Grizzlies were this year. It was a second-round exit. Probably get into the playoffs. You might win a game and then lose to a contender.
Well, it's funny because these two teams could play again in the playoffs.
They could.
You could see it where Idaho could be a 13 or a 14 seed, win their first round, and then go play Montana or Montana State in the second round of the tournament. I could see that very much happening.
Yeah, and looking at the Grizzlies' schedule now, Idaho State this weekend.
So finally a road game.
Finally, yeah.
Haven't left Missoula all of September, and then it's not even a true or a far road game.
No, it's right down the road.
Pocatello's not that far from Missoula,
so it's one of those things where they
have you been to that dome?
No, I've
never
been
to
have. Pocatello.
That is not a great facility.
I've heard it's not the best. It makes the Kibbe Dome in Idaho look like.
See, I have not. So I haven't been to that one, so I can't compare. I've only been to the one in Pocatello. I haven't been to Moscow for that.
Yeah, they're interesting facilities for sure.
So the Grizz of Idaho State, Montana State plays NAU, and Sam Herter and I were talking about that on Monday. That's a
4-1 NAU.
Right. That's a real interesting game because that's where Montana struggled in Flagstaff.
They always struggle.
UND in their old days in the Big Sky could not win down there.
The Sky Dome's a tough place to play, and it's got really the field conditions there. It's all, apparently it's just really it's a hard surface, harder than it even though they're playing on turf, an old AstroTurf. That was where just really bad injuries would always happen, and it's just it's a weird place to play. And I'm really curious to see because I kind of wonder
if NAU gets that one, then that locks the Cats into Thanksgiving, I would think. That's 3 losses then,
and then they have to go to Missoula,
and they haven't played Montana yet.
And if they're waffling like that, it's like, okay, well, what are the Cats?
Right.
And then that becomes a big question.
Suddenly,
mark,
and then
but
NAU would be in the conversation of
for
a
the
Big
title.
Sky championship.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, and then it's like, ooh, how do they play into seeding? And,
Right.
like, how are they in this conversation?
Yeah, we're
So-
at that point of the year we can start talking about that.
I
folks.
know, it's kind of
Don't roll your eyes
October,
at me.
it's
And
time.
NAU does not play Montana, so
Right.
you've got that silly part in the Big
Yeah.
Sky, which I totally dislike, where and the CAA is the same boat, where you could have two really good teams and co-champs because they don't play one another.
Yeah, and I looked at NAU's schedule, and I think Montana would have the more impressive resume at this point, but it really depends.
I would say with the win over UND,
Yeah.
that's going to depending how
again,
UND.
we
and
talked about that last week.
Right, and I
like,
think
if that looks like a good win,
that could age well.
Yeah.
I think it will.
I do too. I think UND's a good team.
The only thing, NAU's got the win over the Word, and Incarnate Word suddenly looks like they've got their act together.
Yeah.
They beat Abilene Christian by 30 points last. So that could cancel each other out.
that's true.
If
Yeah.
the Word plays better
yeah,
and
it comes down
UND
to
holds serve, then it might
how they play
push.
against Idaho, or what that looks
Right,
like.
and
or-
NAU hosts Idaho
Yeah.
later this season.
which is good
so
because Montana hosted Idaho too,
Right.
so then you kind of get that that apples to apples a little bit.
Davis plays Cal Poly this weekend as well in the Big Sky. That's another one to keep an eye, because if Cal Poly gets that, then maybe they're better. That'd be 4 wins
Right.
for
And
Cal Poly.
Yeah, and then that Grizz game with Cal Poly looks huge,
Right.
on the schedule.
God,
so
Cal
it's-
Poly hasn't been good in football in forever.
Yeah,
it's
it's
been a
been
while since they were in the old Great
2000,
West.
yeah.
Even the old Great West. It's not in the Big.
before that.
It was not in the Big Sky. They
Yeah.
haven't been all that good.
No, they've had a couple years where they've beaten good Big Sky
Yeah,
teams,
but they have not
haven't
been-
been like
No.
put together a whole season.
No, I just that to me when I look at that for the Big Sky games this weekend, those are the those are Portland State, Eastern Washington. Just seeing Eastern Washington get destroyed by Montana State. Just I feel bad. I do.
Yeah,
I've
that-
been to Cheney.
oh, man.
You've been out there.
Yeah.
It's just it's too bad to see what's
Well, those
happened there.
fans deserve so much better than that. I mean, that it's a good fan base, and it is sad to see that Eastern isn't what it was.
Not even
for
close
sure.
anymore,
No.
and you don't know if they're ever going to be back there
Yeah,
at that level.
I mean that conversation they had about moving down to
Right,
that
that's
really
scary.
was
Yep.
like that was eye opening.
Like if Cooper Kupp decides, hey, I can give him $10 million, I don't even know if that would help them.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
And I don't know if that still would make a dent in what Eastern's facing financially right now, which is too bad because you're looking, you're constantly looking for teams to be better, rise up. Tarleton State, we're hopeful, can stick around. They have higher aspirations though of FBS football. You want teams. West Georgia is good, but they're not even
Starting to
eligible.
emerge, yeah.
You want teams to bubble up and be good because
we don't want it to be the Big Sky.
look what it
Missouri
is, though.
Valley
I mean, look at the top
Invitational.
5 teams right now.
Yeah, 4 of the 5 are those two conferences.
Exactly right. And and who we thought it would be. Montana, Montana State, South Dakota State, North Dakota State. Stunner. You know what I mean?
Surprise.
Like, exactly where we're at. All right, my man. Thanks for coming by.
Hey, thanks
Enjoy
for having
another
me.
dynamite sports weekend on tap for you.
Gosh,
here.
by next week I'll either be elated coming in on Wednesday or I'll like way down in the dumps.
That's the fun part of being a sports
It
fan.
is,
Good to see you, bud.
yeah.
Thanks for coming by. Here
Thanks
he
for having
goes.
me.
Drew Trafton joining us each and every Wednesday at 9:20. We come back. You'll meet state champion, newly minted state champ from Sheyenne, Zoe Keene, on winning yesterday at Fargo Country Club. It's coming up. We come back. Welcome back, everybody. Hot Mike rolling here on a busy and warm Wednesday, first day of October. I mentioned it's a Sheyenne Wednesday. Former Mustang Karter Menz going to join us in about a half hour after a standout performance for him as the Gophers beat Rutgers. Menz had a couple of TFLs and a sack in the win, so we'll chat with him coming up in our second hour. But it's a celebration going on at West Fargo Cheyenne today. The girls' golf team completed a dominant fall. They won every meet this year and then ended up winning state by about 100 shots yesterday at Fargo Country Club. That was impressive. Also added to it, for the first time, they have an individual state champion on the girls' golf side. Zoe Keene beat Rose Solberg in a playoff, a couple extra holes yesterday at FCC. And she joins us here this morning to chat about it. First off, congratulations. How has school been for the first couple hours today?
It's been pretty cool. They gave us an announcement over the intercom, so that was cool for everybody to hear.
All right, let's talk team before we talk about you. What was it this year that you guys played so well to win every single time?
It really showed in the summer. At every single summer tournament, I saw a Sheyenne bag there, and that's the summer's where you learn, and that's really where we got it from.
Was there something that just clicked, or when did you know, like, all right, we got a team here that's going to be tough to beat?
Well, after last year, we all knew coming into this year that we were going to do it, and we wanted to set records. We knew we could set records the whole year, and it was cool to do it at the last tournament.
Well, it's one thing to have, expectations. It's another thing to go and do it. So when was it the first couple meets in? When did you guys, or when did you even realize that, all right, nobody's touching us this year?
Well, you take the top 4 scores, and I think out of our 6, we had a new person almost every tournament. We've taken everybody's score this year, which is really cool.
That's pretty deep. When you have that going on, just what's that mentality like? Like, all right, well, I don't need to play lights out because Peyton can play really well, or yourself can go and do it.
Yeah, well, everybody has somebody that'll pick up for them. So if I'm having a bad day, I know Peyton or Ava will get it for me, or Aubrey had a bad day the first day of the state tournament, and then the second day she came through and finished strong because she was the first starter, so that was really cool.
All right, I have to talk weather because I'm old. When you see the forecast that it's going to be 85 for state, are you like, because I know you guys have played when it's 40 out. What were you thinking? Like, you like that, or you like the colder temperatures?
Well, a few years, my first year, my 8th grade year, Coach Wolf, he told us that this would be at Edgewood. He said that was the only year that we were ever going to have the nicest day. But the past 2 years, it's been really nice, and that's really worked out for us.
You also saw the wind kicked up yesterday. When that was the case, how did you feel about? Do you like playing in the wind, or how much of a challenge does that add?
The wind was actually in my favor the last stretch of holes. I feel like it wasn't ever in a bad spot coming down 17 and 18. It was all downwind, so my drive went a little farther, and that really helped me out.
All right, so let's go through the round yesterday, and you start 4 shots back of Rose. What's your mentality when you're starting your round yesterday?
I just wanted to I wanted to catch her, and I feel like I was in the best position I could be. I was playing to win, and I just feel like when you're down, I feel like you have more of a chip on your shoulder, and you want to get to that point. So yeah.
So you felt unencumbered, like I got no pressure on me because everybody thinks that she's gonna win, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I had the fun spot. So.
So you're going out playing loose. When are you following where you're at? Like, are you being told in terms of where you were at with Rose?
Well, I always just feel like you keep a little mental note in the back of your head. So she doubled on the 4th hole on the par 3, and I had a tough up and down for par. Then I don't know, something about the 5th hole when I eagled on the front that really gave me a lot of motivation.
We're watching how you played the 18th in regulation. Can you describe that of what you did there to get up and down?
Wow, that was I feel like that was kind of impressive. I'm impressed with myself on that hole. It was a little crosswind, and I chipped it up, and I thought it looked really good. The putt, I played it outside left, and I had a bunch of confidence going into that putt. So
doing you go to the playoff, and you got to go play 18 or over again. Describe that of going right back to the same hole that you just played so well?
I love that hole. It's beautiful looking from the tee box, and my drive didn't look like it was in the best position, but once I got up there, it was better than any other place you could be. You're hitting down at the green into the wind, so there was no crosswind or anything. I was hitting straight into it and just got on the green and 2-putt.
So then you got to go and play 10 again. I know Rose came up short with her, so you're watching that. What's going through your mind when you see her come up short at 10?
I was more focused on my game. I just wanted to keep pushing through and getting through the playoff holes. it was more of a match play scenario.
Yeah.
At that point, it's not you're trying to do this. You're just trying to make par and keep going and stuff like that.
So you get close. We just watched it. The final putt goes in. Your teammates come out and mob you. What was your reaction? What's going through your mind after that?
Oh, everything is going through my mind on that. I'm so proud of my team and how we finished, because last year we didn't finish the best, and how everybody had the right mentality going into yesterday was just so impressive.
I got a couple of photos sent to me of the amount of people that were watching the final few holes. Can you describe that? I mean, you play golf all the time, but that's got to be, how was it nerve-wracking the last 4 holes?
I actually really enjoyed it. It's cool playing in front of that many people, and once you hit a good shot, you'll hear the crowd start cheering, and because on 10 it's a blind tee shot, so I didn't know where it ended up, and I heard everybody cheering once it hit the fairway. So,
do you talk to your round? Were you and Rose talking, or no? It was like, you know what, man, this game face, I can't break concentration here.
Well, we both thought it was really cool to both get the opportunity to play in that, especially for our last year ever. Yeah. And to play against her is really, I take that as an accomplishment for me. She's such a good person and good golfer, and I really respect her. So we both thought that was a great opportunity.
You shot 69 yesterday. If I would have told you that before you teed off, would you have believed me that you had that in you?
No, I don't know if I would have believed you, but I'd have been pretty impressed.
So we got a couple shots as well, Zoe, after the celebration, and I'm really interested about that. Your mom and dad out there, your family. Can you describe what that moment was like and the hugs afterwards?
My family is such a big supporter for me. Every single person, even my distant relatives, they all show up every single time. They call the extra week in advance to get carts so they could come out there. I wasn't really nervous for the big crowd because I'm so used to my entire family being there and all that. So,
did you describe your emotions? Just was it more excited, joy? Where were you at in terms afterwards with all the hugs you got?
I was crying, but I was so overwhelmed. It's exciting because you want to win individually, but once it's with the team, there's something different about that, and that's the feeling that I wanted all year, was just to finish it with my team, as we're all best friends, and it's that's what I wanted.
First individual state champion golfer at Sheyenne. When I say that, what's that mean to you?
That means everything. I've put in so much time to this sport, and to see it finally pay off it's still unreal that I finished like that.
Did you celebrate I know it's a school night. Did you celebrate last night or no?
Yeah. Yeah, we celebrated with my team last night. We do a lot of other sports. We're learning a few other sports right now, so hit the pickleball court.
Tell me about Coach Wolf. He's been doing it for so long. What does he mean to you and to your team?
He means everything to us. He's such a good coach, and he's more of he doesn't walk you through the shots as much. He keeps my mental side really. The last few holes he walked with me, and he just kept me in check. There was maybe 2 times he gave me advice for a shot, but he really kept me focused and stuff like that.
We had a shot during the round yesterday. It was so windy, it blew your hat off. I mean, at that point, you just all right, well, let's go. Did that break your mental focus, or just describe that?
It really did. It did break my mental focus. Now, I'm kind of disappointed in that aspect of breaking my mental focus, but right when I walked off the green, Canola and Wolf were there, and they just turned it right back around, forgot about it, and then knew I was down 1, headed into the 18th. So,
well, but honestly, at that, you just got to, you know what? It's Fargo. It comes with the territory, right?
That was really unfortunate timing.
I have to ask. I know you've been offered to play basketball as well at Concordia. What's the sport? I mean, is it golf, hoops? Have you decided yet?
I haven't made a decision yet. I have an idea in my head where I'm leaning, but no decisions have been made yet.
Did yesterday sway that in any way?
I don't know. It's close.
To have this done, when do you think it will sink in of what you and your team accomplished?
It's going to take a few weeks. I'm still in awe that yesterday happened, so.
That moment when you guys got the trophy, handed with the placard, can you take us through that, what that moment was like? Not just for you individually, but to have your teammates there, too, that you guys won.
Well, after last year, this is all we wanted. We wanted the number one trophy handed to us this year, and once it was, we were just so excited.
All right, I do this with every golfer I have on the show. If you had to play one hole with one club, what's the club you're going to use?
I'd probably use my 7-iron.
Yeah, that's the one?
Yeah, my 7-iron.
Have you ever putted with your 7-iron? Have you done that before?
I have, yeah.
How'd that go?
That was pretty good.
Was that out of necessity, or you're just having fun?
No, I was just having fun.
Is there a tell me about FCC, Fargo Country Club, and you mentioned how much you love a couple of the holes there. Is that one of your favorites? Which one is your, I guess around here, which one's your favorite course to play?
I do. I really like Fargo Country Club, and this year they kept it in really good shape. So shout out to them because it was in really good shape for the state tournament. But all the courses around here have been pretty good. Oxbow's in really good condition too. But yeah, they did really good for Fargo Country Club this year.
I have to, last thing, everyone was watching the Ryder Cup this past weekend, match play. You lived that out. How nerve-wracking? Is that more nerve-wracking than just playing individually and looking to, hey, where's my team score at? Can you describe that?
Well, before the round, Peyton was like, that's all she referred to as the Ryder Cup. She's like, guys, we watched what the U.S. did this year. We can go do that. We can go do that. So when I was in that final moment and I saw Peyton, I was like, I'm going to do this for Peyton and relive her pre-round things. So
that's fantastic. Zoe, thanks so much for doing this. Congratulations. You got to go back to class now. Thanks so much for this. Congrats. Enjoy it, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Zoe Keene joining us from West Fargo, Cheyenne, first individual state golf champ yesterday, winning that at Fargo Country Club in a playoff on the second hole, beating Fargo Davies' Rose Solberg. That's no easy task. Rose, we all know, is going to go play her golf collegiately next year at the University of Minnesota. We've seen her. We saw her this summer at the Red River Am. I think she finished 6th at the River Am. I think one day she had the low round of the day. That is no easy feat. And you saw the highlights there of how Zoe played 18 in regulation to get it to a playoff, then played 18 again, and then nearly holed out for birdie at the 10th is so hard. The 10th hole over there is a blind, like she said, a blind tee shot, goes down into a valley there. I mean, the pros, most of the time, they drive the green or pretty darn close to it from the old days of the Bobcat when it was there. That is such a difficult hole. And have that be the two playoff holes, because 18 and 10 are right next to one another for those that aren't familiar with the golf course. That added to plenty of the drama there. But congratulations to Zoe. That's awesome stuff. And there's your first fall state tournament in the books with girls golf. Next up, we've got tennis and then soccer, and then we're off and rolling with football and volleyball to follow after that. Appreciate her time. And congrats to Coach Wolf. We've had Dan on several times, one of our all-time favorite interviews, and this is awfully impressive. To go and win every single meet. And what Zoe mentioned, they did not win state last year. They had a dominant year and didn't cap it off, and they did it here and won by 45 shots over Mandan. Awfully impressive. Congratulations to them. We'll break. We come back. We'll wrap up our first hour. Our Cheyenne hour will continue. Karter Menz coming up in hour number 2. Back on this Wednesday morning edition of Hot Mic right after this. All right, wrapping up our first hour. Thanks to Zoe Keene. That was great stuff. Appreciate Coach Wolf making that happen for us today during school. A couple things before we wrap up our first hour. Looks like the Braves are going to have a new manager. Brian Snitker going to retire after 50 years with Atlanta, or the Braves organization. So we have up to, I believe, 6 openings now. The Orioles got to make up their mind what they're doing. Obviously, the Twins have an opening that's going to be for a bit. The Angels have an opening with Ron Washington stepping aside. He had quadruple bypass surgery during the season that likely he wasn't going to come back. The Braves now have an opening. The Nationals need to decide what they're doing with their club. The Pirates re-signed Don Kelly, so he's going to stay on there. And the Rockies need to make up their mind. And the Giants are the openings there with 2 in the National League West on what they're going to do. Also, my favorite tweets of the week is the NFL TV maps are out for this weekend. Here locally, CBS, we're getting Denver and Philly. We always get the Broncos around here. I guess there's more Bronco fans than I probably care to admit. But that's over Houston, Baltimore, Giants, Saints, Tampa, Seattle, or Tennessee, Arizona. Fox early. Oh, boy. Because remember, the Vikings play at 8:30 again. That's NFL Network. You get Dallas and the Jets on Fox this week here. That's over Vegas and the Colts, Miami, and almost the entire nation is getting Dallas Colts. And then in the late window, we get Detroit and Cincinnati, where everybody else is getting Washington Chargers. Yeah, it's about 75-80% of the country is getting the Washington Chargers game. That's with Burkhardt and Brady. We get Detroit-Cincinnati with Kevin Kugler and Daryl Johnson. Who's calling the Dallas and the Jets game? Jason Benetti and Greg Olson. Benetti's really good. He is the main play-by-play guy for the White Sox. Or no, he used to be the White Sox. Now he's the Tigers guy. He's really good. Nance and Romo have got Broncos-Eagles on CBS. That's always, for me, fun to see what we got for our national TV games locally, especially with the Vikes playing in the early window in London on Sunday. The Vikes made some news. Actually, the Browns made more recent news. They're going to start Dylan Gabriel, the rookie from Oregon, 6 years in college, the left-hander, is going to go for the Browns at quarterback. The Vikes made an addition on the offensive line. Former UND All-American Matt Waletzko was signed. He may even have a chance to play for the Vikings with how disastrous the offensive line is right now in terms of injury, whether it be Brian O'Neill likely not going to play. We know Donovan Jackson is out. Ryan Kelly likely out after a second concussion in 3 weeks. Vikes are beat up there, so we'll find out more. But they officially signed Waletzko yesterday after a standout career. He was drafted, I want to say, in the 5th round in the 2022 draft by the Cowboys. So spent some time with there and now a member of the Vikings. We'll break. We come back. We'll start our second hour. You'll hear from former West Fargo Cheyenne Mustang Karter Menz on his time with the Minnesota Gophers and finally getting a chance to stand out for the Gophers. It's coming up. We start our second hour on a Hump Day Wednesday after this.
This is Hot Mike.
Hot Mike.
On the networks of WDAY.
WDAY.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2, ready to rock and roll. Don't forget, we got Bison Media Zone coming up here at the bottom of the hour. Get you ready for the conference road opener for North Dakota State against Illinois State. We got a half hour of that chatter coming up in just a little while. Looking forward to that as everybody else begins Valley play this weekend, notably South Dakota State on the road against Youngstown State. We'll chat about that. North Dakota's conference opener on the road with Northern Iowa. We'll get to all that coming up later on in our half hour here today. Looking forward to that conversation. All right, so we mentioned in our best of the weekend on Monday, and for you Gopher fans who always are on my case, you never talk enough about the Gophers, here it is for you, because it's a double whammy, because Minnesota knocked off Rutgers in a thriller on Saturday in anticipation now of their real biggie against the Ohio State coming up Saturday night, 6:30, prime time on NBC with the reigning national champs. And the neat part about their win over the Scarlet Knights on Saturday, West Fargo's Karter Menz was a huge part of the victory. Now, little backstory before we play. I had a chance to interview Karter yesterday afternoon. Menz burst on the scene 2021 in his junior season. And that summer, the summer of 21, when things started to get crazy. The Bison had offered him His older brother Cole was recruited to NDSU, was going to NDSU at the time. Matt Entz, who clearly had ties to West Fargo Cheyenne with each of his sons going there, saw Karter could be a potential big-time player, offered him. And I want to say 2 days later, PJ Fleck in Minnesota got into the mix, and they offered him. He ended up having more than a handful of Power 4 offers and ended up deciding that summer that he would commit to Minnesota. He signed with the Gophers after his senior season in December of 2022. He redshirted in 23. He got in a couple games last year in 2024, but now after a couple of portal departures and, frankly, of getting bigger and stronger, he's moved up the depth chart now in his redshirt sophomore season that he's playing. He's playing a lot. I've had people message like, hey, check out number 11 for the Gophers. He's playing. And then on Saturday, I got a bunch of messages during the game that he burst out, and he certainly did, with 5 tackles, 2 TFLs, and a sack in the win over the Scarlet Knights. So with that, we had a chance, our thanks to the University of Minnesota for making this happen, to visit with Karter Menz about finally getting on the field and making an impact with the Gophers.
That was really fun. Of course, it's great to get that first sack, especially in a game like that. That was, I'd say, one of the more fun games I've ever played in.
Did it feel like a long time coming? Make the work that the last couple of years be worth it?
Yeah, definitely. That's what I was saying after the game. That was just a long time coming. Just working every day for these past couple of years just to get to that moment.
You get a sense that this was coming, that your opportunity just was going to come eventually?
Yeah, for sure.
I guess expectation-wise heading into the year, what did you have for yourself on that you could be a difference maker, get out there and play this year?
Yeah, I feel like our room is really good. You know, me and Jax, push each other to get better every day. But I feel like we both are like put this team in a really good spot to, go out there and compete at our position.
I guess take me back to getting here all the last couple of years. Like, what is this? What would you tell yourself a couple of years ago you didn't know about specific like college football that you know now?
Yeah, I would tell myself just be patient. Like your opportunity is not going to come right away, but you just got to be ready for it when it comes.
Is that, I guess, make it even sweeter of what happened on Saturday?
Yeah, definitely. I was really excited for that one.
Describe that moment of having that, especially at home, the crowd in a tight game. What it was when you're going off the sideline, like, holy cow, I made a big play.
Yeah, I wasn't even really thinking about it at that moment. That was that I got a sack. Even I was just like I was so into the game, just excited to make a play.
Big Ten football. We talked about it when you committed a couple of years ago. Now you're in it. So give us the gist of is it look as fast, as tough as we see it on TV? You're living it.
It did definitely take some getting used to right when I first got in it, but I feel comfortable now and confident in my abilities here.
What is Coach Fleck? What does your D coordinator talk to you about your role and even expanding it after what happened this past Saturday?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they definitely just tell me like just be ready. I mean, yeah, just be ready. Just go out there and attack it every day.
I remember when you were going through the recruiting process, how crazy it was that Minnesota, some other big schools were coming to Fargo and West Fargo. Now it seems we got Big Ten teams up here all the time. Describe that of kind of leading the charge, and now the Gophers are up here looking at guys from Sheyenne, Davies, Kindred all the time now.
Yeah, it's definitely cool. I mean, when I was first getting recruited, it was definitely like it was a cool thing because I hadn't seen much of that, like much of the Big Ten teams up in North Dakota. But yeah, it definitely seems like we got a lot of Big Ten guys now coming out of North Dakota.
Describe for Karter the last couple of years for people that don't get to, we don't see you play on Saturday, going through scout team, redshirting, the grind of that, and how that's paid off now 2 years later.
Yeah, I mean, my first couple of years, running scout team, not playing too much, it definitely it teaches you you just got to keep going. It teaches you to be tough. I feel like that was definitely playing those 2 years on scout team and all that definitely helped me to get to where I am now.
And going up against your offensive line, guys that are playing professionally, I mean, how much better did that make you doing that, getting beat up, unfortunately, on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, I feel like that's when I grew the most, is going against guys like Ariante my first year. That he's a really good player, and I feel like that really helped me grow.
How much you got support back here? I know your folks never miss anything, but tell me about, especially after the game on Saturday, of hearing from people back here about what you've been doing.
Yeah, that was really cool to just, all my buddies back home just like shoot me a text after the game, just congratulating me. And yeah, definitely support from my family. That's really, really cool to hear.
I know Cole just wrapped up his career. Describe your relationship with him and seeing him go out and win a championship in his final year.
Yeah, that was a cool experience. I got to actually go up there for that game. Right after the bowl game, just flew down to Frisco, and that was really cool seeing him go out, go out on top.
What was that like to share that moment after the game?
That was awesome. I was very proud of him. Like, I think he had 2 national championships. That was just really cool to see.
Pretty big one this week. I mean, this is, when you're getting recruited, there's places to go. Ohio State comes right to mind. Just before the opponent, tell me you're just thinking about playing in the Horseshoe on a prime time on Saturday night.
Yeah, very excited for that one. They're a really, really skilled team, but I'm confident in what we can do and, going out there.
I'm interested just getting in you take a sense in even warm-ups just to look around a little bit. Like, all right, this is come a little bit from West Fargo, North Dakota to Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, I'll definitely take it in when I get there, but as soon as game time, it's just like any other game.
How much you got to tell guys on your team about, hey, we actually got some dudes. We got some players in North Dakota.
Yeah. I feel like most guys here don't really have the right idea about North Dakota. They think it's all like, farmland and all that, but yeah, we definitely got some skilled players there.
What's the one thing maybe you tell yourself now that maybe you didn't 2 years ago when you got to Minneapolis?
I feel like just being open to new experiences. It's pretty different from back home, but I like it up here. It's just I've had a lot of new experiences up here.
Have they moved you around, or are you pretty much defensive? Like, just tell me about position wise over the last couple of years where you've been at.
Yeah, first and second down. I've been at rush, but like third down packages, we do a lot of moving around. A lot of I've been at like 3 tech for third down. Like I've been at edge. All that. We just move guys around to give us the best chance at pass rushing.
Where do you get a sense now? Hey, I feel comfortable. Now you've gone out and done it. How much does that help your confidence going forward, not just for this coming Saturday, but for the rest of the year?
Yeah, it definitely helps to just know that I can do this, and it does build a little more confidence. There's just learning from these first 4 games, just taking what I learned there and just being able to apply it for the rest of the year.
Seeing up close how much Coach Fleck has changed the atmosphere there on a game like a home game. Describe what that's like now with the students packed in. It was a packed house on Saturday. What's that like now for Gopher home football games?
Yeah, that's awesome when the stadium is packed, crowd is loud. That just really helps us out. It's very exciting when you hear the crowd noise like that.
It's a pretty big week back in your hometown. I think Horace and West Fargo are going to play for the first time. Horace is going to play Sheyenne. What have you heard from back here about those football games actually going to happen now?
Yeah, I was talking to my family about that the other day. Didn't Horace moved up a division, didn't they?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, that should be a good game.
What do you remember about those, like the Sheyenne West Fargo games you played and how big a deal that was?
Yeah, those were some of my favorite games. I feel like it was West Fargo and Davies, Shanley. Yeah, I looked forward to those games all the time.
What's comparable now for you guys? Obviously, Wisconsin. What comes like now that you're in it, when you've lived in it? Iowa. What are the ones like? Holy cow! These are monster games.
Yeah, the big games. Wisconsin, Iowa, but teams like Nebraska, definitely Ohio State, Michigan. Those are games I look forward to.
What he's gone through over the last couple of years. We appreciate his time yesterday, and we'll see. Now, get a chance to get out there, watch number 11 make some plays as Minnesota takes on Ohio State on Saturday night. I just went back into his recruiting profile for when things got nuts. Right after we mentioned the 2021 season. So that February of 22, NDSU was the first to offer, followed by Ohio, South Dakota State, Eastern Michigan, and Miami of Ohio. So we're in early March of 22. Then things got crazy. Because then after that, Nebraska offered him. And I know that's when at least the radar bells here on this show started going off. Then Army, South Dakota, Princeton, Columbia, Air Force, Minnesota then came in early April of 2022, Kansas, Washington State, San Diego State, Vanderbilt, then Stanford came in. You know, all the attention, and Riley Sunram was going through this at the same time as well, where these schools were not used to do. Now, we're 3 years removed from this, and now we're seeing Michigan and Minnesota routinely coming up here and offering guys. This is just 3 years ago. It wasn't commonplace. He committed, did Karter, in early June of 2022 and then ended up signing that December. And you heard from him about what the last couple of years have been like. And frankly, in an era now where it's easier to leave than it ever has been, I think there may have been some here in the local football community thinking, well, maybe he can come back this way. That, you know, his brother was here. They'd come back and play at North Dakota State. Now that he's got a chance to go out there and make some plays, clearly Minnesota likes what he's doing. He's moved up the depth chart and is playing in a spot where he can be an impact guy that you saw it. He's not overwhelmed out there. He's going to have a big-time challenge, though, against Ohio State's offensive line. We'll be keeping our eyes on that coming up on Saturday. Appreciate his time, and if you missed any of that, we'll podcast it later today at Inforum.com. We'll break. We come back. We'll put a bow on things, get you ready for the Bison Media Zone. A couple emails coming in as well as we roll on a Wednesday morning edition of Hot Mike on WDAY Extra right after this. All right, final segment here on a Wednesday morning. Bison Media Zone coming up here in about 15 minutes with our guy Kolpak, getting you ready for NDSU and Illinois State. Couple of schedule notes, one to get in before we say goodbye. Our friends at FBschedules.com had this, confirmed it yesterday. UND has got another FBS game lined up. Fighting Hawks have announced a game in 2027 with Iowa. Fighting Hawks are going to get $550,000 for the game, which will take place on September the 18th of 2027. For UND, and this is just going to drive Bison fans crazy, but that's why we do the show. So they have the game this year with Kansas State. Next year, the Hawks have Nebraska. It's a game NDSU's been wanting for 15 years. They're never going to get it. They play in Lincoln. That's the second time UND's playing in Lincoln, by the way, in a 4-year stretch. Then they go to Iowa, then Minnesota, then Iowa State, and Minnesota again. And I know Bison fans are going to say, all right, well, we won there, we won there, we won there. And that's exactly accurate. There's no disputing that. That's why UND can get those games. North Dakota State cannot. The Nebraska one, though, will stick in everyone's craw. The Nebraska and potentially Wisconsin. I know UND's been talking on that as well. But that, between that and with South Dakota State has Northwestern, I believe, next year at their new stadium, which is going to look pretty darn cool. That can drive NDSU fans right up a flagpole there. And I don't blame them. Like, those are dynamite games. You'd like to have that opportunity. But, and the Jacks are finding this out as well. You know, I've talked to enough South Dakota State administration that we had Justin Sell on the show back in August. on the no phone calls is how the Vegas thing came about. Yeah, SDSU has Northwestern in 26 as their FBS game. 27, they have Iowa State, which that might be a makeup for the game that never happened, that got stopped because of weather a few years back. 28, they have Nebraska. I know, Bison fans. This is just the ultimate kick in the you-know-where. 29 is the Vegas game. I don't know if they have anything else behind. And 2030, they have Nebraska. So there you go. UND and SDSU can get the games. We know USD's got a couple. Bison are going to be left out in the cold. I don't know. The only thing that would change that, and this is beating a really dead horse, would be the FBS route. And I don't even know if they were an FBS school, if those teams would say, okay, we'll play them now. That might get even harder. I don't know. For those holding out hope on Nebraska and Wisconsin, that might be a long time coming. Because Iowa State, I thought Northwestern would be cool just because the amount of and Tim Polisek talked about it yesterday in his press conference about how much they hit Chicago recruiting-wise. They're going to do it with the night game Saturday night in Normal, that they're going to recruit the Chicago area Friday night, that Northwestern be a heck, give me Illinois. Would Bielema do that? No way, but that'd be fun. Those games just aren't going to happen. But UND's got that one locked up. So they've got FBS opponents now for the next 6 years, which it helps the pocketbook when you got those games. $500,000, that goes a long way there. We were talking about this earlier in the show. Apparently, the MLB scheduling office listens to Hot Mike. Welcome to the party on that. We have the times for the early games over the weekend. Eric will be interested to know on this. If the Yankees win, follow me here, folks. If the Yankees win, the Brewers will play at 1 o'clock Saturday. That works for you because the Bison don't play till late. So you got that. But if the Red Sox win, the Brewers would play at 8 o'clock Saturday night. I don't know why that changed dramatically, but that's the deal. So, and you're kind of busy at 8 o'clock Saturday night, but I'm sure you'll have it on your phone. And then Sunday is just reserved for the American League games, and then it moves on from there. So that's the deal for Saturday. And if the Yankees win, they would play the Blue Jays. That game will be at 3 o'clock on Fox, which would not have college football on in the middle of the day. They would take the Yankee game. That's why, because it's the Yankees. And then for Drew's sake, the Mariners would play on Saturday night at 7:30 on Fox Sports 1. That would be the deal. And then the Mariners would play Sunday night at 7 o'clock on FS1 as well, just like we talked about. They get the football game done, and then it's right on to baseball after that. So that's the early returns there for the start of the division series. As for the games today, as we went through earlier, and we'll feature here in What to Watch in just a second, all elimination games today because it's best of 3. So Detroit and Boston can move on. Same with the Cubs and the Dodgers. Not often have we had actually the series go the full 3. No, Mets and Brewers did it last year. It's more 2-game sweeps than going 3. The Twins obviously took care of Toronto in 2. So we'll see. Hopefully we get some drama on that coming up later today. It all begins in just a little bit. And with that, let's get you ready for it with some What to Watch before we get out of here. What to Watch is brought to us by our friends at Northwestern Mutual. We got Tigers and Guardians, Game 2 coming up at noon on ESPN to see if Detroit wins, they move on to the division round. If Cleveland wins, we get a Game 3 on Thursday. Starters today, Casey Mize is still going for Detroit. Tanner Bybee on the mound for the Guardians. Padres and Cubs coming up on WDAY at 2 o'clock. Again, Chicago leads that 1-0. Dylan Cease is going for the Padres. Andrew Kittredge is the starter for the Cubs in a bullpen game for Chicago. And then, of course, we got volleyball tonight. Big Ten is the home of some dynamite teams. Minnesota and Michigan. Gophers are ranked in the top 10. 6:30 tonight on the Big Ten Network. Our thanks to Karter Menz, to Zoe Keene, and Drew Trafton. If you missed any of the show, you can podcast it later today at Inforum.com. You can watch a full replay on WDAY+. The Bison Media Zone is coming up in just a few minutes. We'll see you back here tomorrow on Hot Mic on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KMBN, and Inforum.com.